Well, for the first time, the House Intelligence Committee heard from the survivors of the Benghazi attack this week. A crucial detail is under dispute, whether or not there were gaps between terror attacks on the U.S. consulate there. Congressman Mike Rogers said this last night on the Kelly File.
By the testimony we received over the last few days, compared by the testimony that was taken earlier, and it does sync up, it was clear to me that there was intervals of lulls in the fighting, including a 3-hour block of a lull in the fighting.
That may conflict a bit with our next guest's interpretation. He joins us now, Congressman Devin Nunes, also a member of the House Intelligence Committee, Republican of California. Congressman, thanks a lot for joining us.
Thank you, Tucker.
So tell us the significance of the question about whether there was a lull between.
I don't really understand the significance. To me, there was never a lull. For one, we have video, so we have the drone feed, we have the surveillance video. So just provide the committee the video, and we can get to the bottom of whether or not there were bad guys out there. Okay. Secondly, there were guys.
Why would you're the House Intelligence Committee? What grounds are they denying you the video?
Well, there shouldn't be a timeline issue. We don't need witnesses to tell us what the timeline of whether or not there were attackers. We need to know if they saw the attackers, that sort of thing. But secondly, if there was this lull in the fighting, the reason that they want the administration wants this narrative of a lull, because they want an excuse as to why they didn't send in help.
Yes.
Okay, that's why they want the whole issue with a lull. So if there was a lull, then what were these guys doing on the rooftop at 5 in the morning? They didn't normally stand on the rooftop.
Exactly. And
furthermore, what on earth happened to the ambassador? We had a missing ambassador. There's no lull when the guy that all those people there that they're supposed to be protecting the ambassador and he's missing. There's a lull. There's a reason that everybody just parks their cars and grounds all the airplanes and just doesn't do anything. Nonsense.
So one of the reasons we don't have the answers to very basic questions and legitimate questions, I think, like those, is that a lot of the people who were on the ground, CIA officers and contractors, have signed NDAs, promising not to talk.
Right.
Why would the administration push you to do that?
There's lots of lies and cover-up in this. I don't understand why. I sent a letter with 9 questions that the administration needs to answer. If they would just answer the 9 questions, this would all go away. But for some reason, they don't answer the questions. So this week we had a couple 2 different interviews, one on Wednesday with people who are currently in the agency, and then Thursday on people that are now retired. And these are all good people. If it wasn't for them, every American in Benghazi would have been murdered that night. And for some reason, the guys that are now retired, there is an orchestrated effort to discredit them.
Well, it's just disgusting. The overwhelming majority, polling shows, of Americans want answers to these questions and deserve them since they're paying for this and it's their country. So here's a very basic question. Why were there some 24 CIA officers in Benghazi, Libya, in the first place?
Well, it's a good question, and, you know, some of that should be classified, okay, but...
Well, how about giving me a sense of it? Like, what...
Well, obviously, you know, normally they would be there. I mean, that was a former war zone, so I'm sure that there's a lot of bad guys on the ground there. We know there's terrorists on the ground. But you know, that's not really the question that we need answered. The question that we need answered is why did they not? If there were calls for help, why did no help ever come?
Right.
We have a counterterrorism team at the State Department that could have been deployed. It wasn't deployed. It normally is deployed in situations like this. So now it took, because that terrorism team was not deployed, then the FBI didn't get on the ground for until 3 weeks after the attack. So now you've got all these bad guys running around loose, and it doesn't appear like there's any attempt to actually go get them.
That's just unbelievable. I would love to know, I mean, when J.P. Morgan does something the administration doesn't like, they're on the scene. But when 4 of our guys are murdered, 3 weeks, it's outrageous. Congressman, thanks a lot.
My pleasure.
For coming on and explaining that.